Welcome back to the last episode of You and I of the year 2024. It's been a great year for the Gawa, so we're going to be recapping everything that happened. We've got some special guests with us today. I'm going to start with Pete, and then we'll just go along to Stuart. Introduce yourself, tell us a wee bit about what you do, who you are, and some memories about Northern Ireland as well.
So Pete Snodden's the name. You might know me from being on the radio in the morning, and I'm very lucky to be the match announcer here at the National Stadium for the Northern Ireland matches, and I've been doing that for quite some time. 2008 I think was my first match that I ever did, it's been some journey. It's a real honour for me to do it every game. Bit of pressure on you whenever you're doing it, because I'm a fan. You always want it to be right, you know, from the music to the pronunciations. And I tell you what,
that would scare me.
There's a few clinkers. There's always a few clinkers. But yeah, I suppose my earliest memory of being a Northern Ireland fan, it's probably back with Taggart and Lennon playing, and then going right the way through to the Healy and Gillespie sort of generation, and then the team that took us to the Euros, and now we're here with a new squad of players, young guys who are really clicking, and it's really great to watch.
Good stuff, Pete. Rory, what about yourself?
I'm Rory Best. I'm obviously in reasonably unfamiliar surroundings, having spent a lifetime at the other side of the city in a different sporting stadium with Ulster Rugby, and I think I more recently have got back sort of supporting Northern Ireland. Always supported them. It was always something that we'd have watched, even being down with the Irish rugby team. You know, any time there was any of the games on in the evening, some of the guys supporting the Republic of Ireland, we had been supporting Northern Ireland, and it's nice now to have something to shout about. But I suppose probably one of my big memories is quite recent. My youngest son, who refuses to play rugby, I should add, only plays football, plays for Loughgall. So he came out for the Bulgaria game as a mascot. So it was a brilliant night to sort of come in around into the back of the stadium here, to bring him into the changing room to get changed, to then go out, and then to watch him go out and to kick a ball around Windsor Park was something that was a number of years ago. We kind of hoped that we would get onto Windsor Park when they were redeveloping Ravenhill, and we ended up having to play our home final down in Dublin. And every time I come here, I just listen to the atmosphere and think it would have been incredible to get a rugby match here, but I think maybe the pitch didn't fit, or the capacity, or there was some reason. So yeah, that's...
How did your son find that experience as well?
Oh, he loved it. Now, he had brought the match ball out for Liverpool at Anfield in a UEFA Cup game that they lost to Atlanta. I think it was 3-0. So he thought, he was really, really nervous that because he was going out onto the pitch that meant that Northern Ireland might lose, because he thought he was bad luck. So I must say, for a number of reasons, obviously being a supporter, but also from Richie's point of view, I was delighted that Northern Ireland won, and probably won quite comfortably that night. So yeah, no, he loved it.
Oh, good to hear. And Stuart, tell us a bit about yourself. You're a massive Northern Ireland fan, I hear.
Yeah, have been. So I think my first campaign was in 2005, so I got very lucky with that being by origins. Played football when I was younger, and I've just I work in film and television, like as an actor. So I just came back from Canada, and I've been lucky to jump back onto the recent good form. It was actually my uncle was back over for his 60th. He lives in Canada, so to get him back home for that 5-0 win on his birthday was pretty special. Like, so yeah, it's fantastic to be back and to see the success that's come with it.
Yeah, that was a special game, and there must be some difference from the Northern Ireland team you've seen before you went to Canada to coming back. What differences do you see now? Yeah,
I think just the depth we have coming up from and the age of the team, the young players coming up. Like you look at Spencer, like he's 20 and he's playing like he has done for about 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. So it's really inspiring to see those boys sort of take responsibility and just the confidence in them. For the first time, like shooting outside the box, like taking their chances and not trying to walk it in. And it's the quality of football. I think from O'Neill's came back, obviously he had a little transition period, but he seems to now be in full flow, so it's excellent.
Yeah, you all mentioned there young players. I think that's been the key thing this year. Like many players making their debut, many players actually becoming established Northern Ireland players at a young age, in around the 20s. Pete, do you want to touch on maybe some of the established players who you've sort of stood out and...
Okay, so the young guys are absolutely phenomenal, right? But I want to say Josh McGuinness can still stick it in the back of the net. Do you know what I mean? The thing which I see in this squad is a little bit about what I saw, as we all did, with the squad that went to the Euros in 2016, and there's this camaraderie about them. They all like each other, and from what I hear and Rory can talk about this here from playing professional sport in a team for such a long time. That is such a big part of it. So I hear that in the hotel when the team's together, you know, they're playing darts, they're playing pool, they're playing table tennis, they're together. They want to spend time in each other's company, and that certainly was the case with a lot of the 2016 team that went to the Euros. And then, you know, we're seeing that sort of that camaraderie and working hard for each other on the pitch.
Yeah. Like I think it's really important. If I look through my sort of Ireland's probably a better rugby analogy, because with Ulster you train, then you go home every night. When I look at some of the great teams I was in, and some of the talent was fairly similar, but actually the performances were dipped, and you can pin that to how people interact with each other. Do they just want to finish training, eat, and then go to the room, or do they want to hang around with each other? Do they get on well? Do they socialise a bit with each other? Do their partners know each other, like each other? All of those, and a lot of that sort of stems from the senior players, because the young guys, they're brilliant because they bring the energy, they bring the fact that, you know, they don't care who they play because they always think they're going to win. Whereas when you get a bit older, you have a few scars from previous losses and bad performances. So it kind of allows everything to balance. So without the energy and enthusiasm, it's really difficult. But actually without that bit of experience, that bit of come down to the team room, because ultimately when you're a young kid coming into an environment for the first time, it's how welcoming those established players make it, how they interact, how they hang around the team rooms, how they conduct themselves on and off the pitch. That's what everyone follows. So there's no doubt that the senior players set a lot of those examples with everything, but it's actually how welcoming they are into the team environment, because I know from going into teams before where senior players have their own little group, it's very, very hard to break that. But if they actually make an effort and say, you come and sit down, come and throw some darts, play some pool, have a coffee, whatever it is, that small little gesture, probably when you're a more experienced player, doesn't seem that much, but when you're a young kid, it means the world to you, especially when you've grown up watching some of the older ones.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the senior players there. Johnny Evans was part of that. He did retire this year. Stuart Dallas announced he retired as well. So we did lose some senior players this year. Devo as well. Yeah, can't forget him. So we have lost that, like some good experienced players, but we feel like we haven't really missed them in a way, which is a good thing. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think all that experience that builds up in the team, and suddenly you've got like the backbone of a team that sort of disappears, and you always think about the next generation of players coming through. And there has been times watching Northern Ireland, you're wondering where the next crop of players are coming, and now we seem to have this crop coming through who are just absolutely phenomenal. And then you still got the likes of Paddy McNair, who's there, you know, who has been through it all, has learnt from all the names that you've just talked about, you know, that have left, and it's, you know, bestowing his sort of, you know, experience on the rest of the squad. And then these guys who are coming through, the likes of Bradley and Charles, you know, who play with no fear. It doesn't matter who they're up against, which makes it really exciting for the group stage coming through here, and whether we get Italy or Germany, it'll be great to see, you know, those boys in action against that. But as we've got to see Conor Bradley playing for Liverpool and playing against Mbappe, I mean, if he's not scared about playing against him, it won't matter who comes here.
I think there's also a brilliant thing in that. Some of the names you mentioned there, like when I was up watching and Stephen Davis is out, you know, coaching, helping out, you know, to have that sort of, while he's learning a new trade and coaching, he's also a great mentor, I'm sure, for some of the younger players. Gareth McCauley's around. I think it's something that I'm presuming Michael O'Neill was big on it, but actually keeping these guys around, you know, there's so much intellectual property. Don't just let it walk out the door. You know, keep them around, keep sort of leaning on them while these guys are growing. Obviously, I'm a big Paddy McNair fan. I'm a Middlesbrough fan, unfortunately. And so for years he was there. He's left us now. But like, you do need those guys around. But I just love the fact that these guys are also helping out and are in that sort of background.
Mm-hmm. Sure, any faces that stood out to you?
In this campaign?
Yeah, in this campaign, any young faces that stood out?
Oh, to see Price do what he did is phenomenal. Like, to come on and to get those goals in, and again to have that confidence to shoot from outside the box and score screamers. It's amazing. Spencer again, that's just so solid for a 20-year-old, and I believe he scored at the weekend there. So It's great to see that. The Charles boys, all of them, to see Pierce at such a young age come in when he was needed, and to see the team play out the back is just, it's phenomenal to see Northern Ireland play that style of football. And I think Michael O'Neill's he's really solidified that. So I could say any name, but they're all doing amazing.
Yeah, there's too many to name, nearly, isn't there? And the Charles brothers, especially for me, massive standout. I think Shea Charles has been unbelievable this campaign, and even his younger brother Pierce getting his chance in goal and keeping a clean sheet as well, and all the home games, and even that ball he played for Conor Bradley in the Bulgaria game was like a David Raya pass, nearly assisted him. It was unbelievable. Like, you mentioned a lot of different players there. I'm going to have to push you for a player of the year. Who would you give your player of the year to? There's so many names. I've asked the fans at every game, and there's a standout name obviously, but there's been a lot of good candidates there.
Oh, there's loads of candidates, but for me, if you score a hat-trick,
going to go Isaac Price.
Yeah.
He's been brilliant though. He really has.
Yeah, look, I think for me, sort of when you take the Northern Ireland performances, being given the captaincy, and the way he's played on a world stage, I think when you have a player that is performing at the top of his game at one of the top clubs in the world, it's very hard to look past Conor Bradley. To be so young, to take that captaincy in his last few games, and obviously Shea Charles is another one. Would be two, but I would bow down to Pete's knowledge on this more than mine.
Listen, I agree with you. Well, it's easy for me to say Conor Bradley, do you know what I mean, being a Liverpool fan. But just looking outside of that, there's been so many players who have played wonderfully for Northern Ireland in this campaign. It's really exciting for next year. For next campaign and going into World Cup qualifying. But for me, we waited a while for another hat-trick, you know what I mean, after Healy against Spain. So for me, it was great to see that. Stuart, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's easy for me as a United fan to say Conor Bradley as well, to be honest. It's it's just phenomenal. I think, look, we've had Davis and Evans, but I think Conor's the first time we've had a real global superstar, like kids wanting his name on the back of their shirt, and in America, living in Canada, seeing little kids who are big Liverpool fans, just be in awe of him, and I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. So, but like you said, to see to have a goal scorer in the squad like Isaac, it's a real joy to have. It's one of the areas that we've maybe struggled in a couple of campaigns, and we've always sort of brought up these amazing defenders, and midfield has been hit and miss, but a striker is something we've always needed. So to see him score those goals at such a young age, it's a really cool thing,
Yeah, Conor Bradley, popular choice in the fans as well. Anytime I do the Gawa cam and I'm asking player of the year or who's going to score today, Conor Bradley every time. So for him personally, I think what a year he's had for such a young man as well.
Yeah, he's old before his years in terms of how he conducts himself in front of the press. He leads by example on the pitch, and playing for Northern Ireland, what I really like is whenever Michael plays him a little bit further up the pitch. We know him in right back, and he's done a wonderful job there. But in some of the games, we've been pushing forward into midfield, obviously getting a goal or two for him, be it for club or country, has been fantastic. So he's a joy to watch. He really is a joy to watch. And over this last season and a half, he's just come on leaps and bounds. And I still don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
No, I think a key moment for me, is thinking back to that Scotland game, and seeing him up the field, and to win that ball back and to score and after the pitch as well. It is. He can play all over the park, and for someone just the strength of him and the athleticism and the head on his shoulders, as you say, it's a funny thing.
Yeah, I think the way you sort of said about an old head on young shoulders. Whenever you watch him live, especially that sort of game when he was captain for the first time, you see clearly the standards that he holds himself to, but actually that he expects everyone around him to live up to their standards. It's not getting to the standards of that Mo Salah sets, for example, at Liverpool, but it's actually understanding where the level of people you're playing with and that they're holding themselves to the best account that they can. And you just saw him constantly encouraging people. If somebody didn't make a run he felt they should have, he was saying that to them, and just always, where can you try to eke another % or two out, which is clearly the way it will be in the top of the Premiership. When you're playing the Liverpool team, if you're not somebody like that, you're just not going to get picked. It's as simple as that. So you got to have that hard work that clearly was instilled in him when he was young to get to where he is. He still just looks like to me, like, is this appetite to be better. He wants Northern Ireland to be better. He's not coming here for a break away from the pressure of the Premiership. He's coming here to qualify for things, to win games with Northern Ireland. And I think that's you really see the sign of a player that is so hungry to be successful at everything he does. Whenever they come here and they're just always pushing people on.
And the fans this year, we have to mention the fans. Like, the games, especially here at home, have been selling out recently. A lot quicker, a lot faster than before. You mentioned Pete and Rory about the team actually liking each other, but I actually feel like the fans are really behind the team this year.
The Northern Ireland fan base has grown over the years. Certainly since I started following Northern Ireland, there's been huge amounts of changes. And standing out there on the sideline, there's something which I love the most out of everything, and they talk about the atmosphere here, and they talk about the fans singing and making it intimidating for other teams. All of that is amazing, but the thing which I love the most is I stand on the sideline there in the south stand and I look around and it's filled with families, young kids, boys and girls watching football of all ages. They're there with their parents, they're there with their grandparents, and that's the next generation of fans coming through, and it does your heart good seeing these kids, and they're waiting behind and they're trying to get a signature of one of the fan or one of the players and trying to get their shirts and stuff, and it's brilliant. Like, you talk about Richie, your son, what did you say?
He's 9.
He's 9 now, do you know what I mean? And people of his age and below coming to the games and really enjoying it, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, look, I totally agree with that. And look, the atmosphere in general is brilliant. And I think coming from a rugby where we think the atmosphere is good, but like for here, it's always loud. I love the way the songs about the players. I always look at them and think, I wish that they had a song about me at the Kingspan. Although occasionally when the George Best one is sung, my son turned, that's not about you, is it? I said, no, definitely not. No similarities whatsoever. And yeah, I just love the way it from start to finish. It's loud, and I know you sort of said that sometimes it's cagey, but for someone who sort of, you go to some of the Ulster rugby games and it's not as loud as that even the cagey atmospheres, they still are constantly singing. And that's the bit that I love about it. And I just think that from start to finish, and my dad even says he's taken Richie a couple of times when I haven't been around, and that's the one comment he always makes, is just how loud it is from start to finish. And as a player, that's what you want to play in. You want to play in something that's just loud all the time. Because you remember the home games. Like, I couldn't tell you what happened on the pitch in any of the Ulster rugby games I played in, but I could tell you the loud environments I played in, both home and away. So that's, and I could also tell you the ones that were deserted, which is awful to play in for everyone. But no, that's why that I think out there is, special.
Yeah, sure. What's your experience like as a fan this campaign?
Yeah, this campaign, it's phenomenal. I mean, like, as I say, I started going in 2005, and I was sitting in family enclosure. It's maybe quite an ironic term at that stage, because it was like Windsor wasn't developed as it is now, and it was quite intense. Like, it felt like it was cagey in a different way. It was pretty intense atmosphere, but it was. I think back then the IFA were doing their Football for All campaign, and they done wonders, like just getting even the songs that they sing in the stadiums around to be more like all-encompassing for a good general representative of what Northern Ireland is as a community now. So yeah, phenomenal. It's great to see families and people from all walks of life and a proper representation of what Northern Ireland is.
We've got some big games coming up for the fans to look forward to. The World Cup qualifiers was drawn. We might actually have a graphic on the screen, but if you can remember, we got Slovakia, got the winner of Germany and Italy, and Luxembourg. Luxembourg, we obviously have played in this campaign, so we know what that game's going to be like. But the winner of Germany, Italy, Slovakia, some big games coming up. What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping that Italy win. We've had Germany here in recent times. I'd love to see the Italians come to town. I reckon we'd give them a damn good game. I think it's great as well. I mean, this campaign's been phenomenal, but to have like that top-seeded team coming here, it's a different level, so I'm really hoping the Italians can do it. And I dream of a World Cup, 82, 86. I mean, 86, I was 6 years of age, it's a long time ago. And then we got to the Euros, which was phenomenal, and maybe a once in a lifetime. I hope it's not once in a lifetime major championship, but to go to a World Cup would be fantastic. And I remember years ago speaking to Jackie Fulton and a lot of the boys in the media who went alongside the team. way back in the day. And yeah, we took the radio show to France, and it was fantastic. But to go to the World Cup would just be another level.
Well.
So if we get there, bosses, we'd love to do that. Just
Radio Road Show, Route 66.
Sounds like you need some studio guests as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
If you need a podcast, host, hit me up. I'll probably be there.
Yeah, I agree with Peter, but love to see Italy coming here. I think the brilliant thing about where the team have put themselves with that last campaign and is that you're talking about Italy coming here and you give them a damn good game, and actually there'd be a bit of an expectation that we could beat them, which 2, 3, 4 years ago wouldn't have been the case. Obviously Luxembourg is going to be tricky because there'll be a huge expectation that you win that home and away, and that's ultimately where they've got to be. And then in these sort of qualifying groups, it's always about winning your home games. And that, if you can do that, you give yourself a really, really strong position to try to pick something up away from home. And that's how you try to navigate through qualifying groups. It's always going to be very tricky to top it. But if you come second, depending on what happens, give yourself a really, really good chance of doing something again. You'll be at home for a leg of it. And I imagine qualifying for a World Cup would be unbelievable for a country this size. But look, I think there's a really good blend, a really good manager, and of course, if you can't be optimistic at this time as a Northern Ireland supporter, maybe you're never going to be optimistic. You just have to ride this wave and hope that they continue to evolve and keep getting better. And it's definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think as a nation and as an island in general, yourself, we punch above our weight heavily in a lot of sports, and I think getting Luxembourg first up is a great little draw. So to me, we'll take 3 points of that to take us into either the Germany or Italy game, and will be exciting. And having just moved back from Vancouver to maybe go back for a holiday and watch Northern Ireland play in a stadium where I'd watch the Whitecaps, So it would be an incredible thing. I was in Paris for the Germany game, and the atmosphere there, they had to keep us in the stadium for a wee while. Well, they couldn't get us out, but and the Germany fans were amazing. They stayed with us, but I think I would prefer Italy to be here. But yeah, I think confidence is getting higher, and everyone has a faith in the team to get there. It's not as if we're going into this campaign and writing ourselves off straight away. Everyone's got that excitement again.
It's definitely something to look forward to, but the pressure is definitely on those other teams. Probably both, whether it's Italy, Germany or Slovakia. At the end of the day, they're expected to be first and second in the group. So that's you play on that a little bit and play the underdog card and keep using everything you can, because to qualify for a world event is just one of the greatest things that you'll ever be involved in, just everything around it. And a Rugby World Cup isn't an nth of the degree of what a Football World Cup is. So it is definitely, for those players, it is worth every extra second or minute on the training pitch to give yourself the best opportunity to qualify.
I was going to ask you that. What is it like as a player? I'm not sure how rugby works, but playing in a major international rugby tournament, what's it like as a player getting into that? It
is genuinely the best thing you'll ever do. It's every 4 years, and for that, and with rugby we don't have a Euros, so I suppose we have the Six Nations every year, but it's every 4 years is the one time in a world event that you play against other teams. You travel over, you have to be in country sort of 7 days before the tournament starts, and then you have your World Cup cap and medal presentations. There's just so much going on around it, and everything for that, whatever it is, 6-7 weeks, is focused on you and on a team, and there's nothing better. You experience there's just so many kind of embargoes and bits and pieces around it, but I loved it. I was very lucky to play in 4 World Cups in different sort of parts of the world, so to represent your country at a World Cup, it's unbelievable. You also get a lot more kit than you would whenever you normally do. So you don't end up with bags and stuff. Come in the door. It's like, well, I don't have any of it left now because the kids have robbed it all on me. But
to be in the States would be pretty nice as well.
So it would be, yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, I'm praying that we qualify. We're going to move on to our Gawa Ya and Gawa Na game. So I don't know if you've maybe familiar with this game. You've maybe seen an episode or two. Basically, I'm going to ask you some questions, true or false, and you just say Gawa Ya if you think it's true, and Gawa Na if you think it's false. Now, some of these are tricky because they seem like obvious, but they're not really. And you do get extra points if you can tell me the exact answer as well. You get a wee bonus point, and there is some goodies up for grabs as well. So it is worth your while, you know, sweating it and trying to get the answers right. So number 1, Conor Bradley scored the first goal of the year.
I'm just going to guess at the opposite of Pete, effectively.
No.
I'll go with it, yeah. I don't think
It's both going Na. It is Gawa Na. Pete and Stuart, you are right. Unfortunately, Rory, you got it wrong there. It was Jamie Reid versus Romania. That was the first one. Second question. We conceded only 2 goals in the Nations League this year.
might have been 3.
Sure, you're debating.
Yeah,
Yes or no here?
I think it's 2 or 3, to be honest. I think there's like 4 clean sheets or something out of 6. So
That's right, yeah. How many did we concede, though? Final answers?
Conceded.
Final
Yeah.
answers, go ahead.
Final answers. It is Gawa Na. So, Rory, you pulled one back there.
we go.
Well
Good.
done. You knew that. What's the actual answer, Rory?
3.
It is 3, so that's a wee bonus point there, too.
Yeah.
That puts Rory in the lead. 2-1. 2-1-1. Isaac Price was our Nations League top scorer. You're all fairly confident on that. It is Gawa Ya, so you all get a point each. If you can tell me how many he scored, get an extra point.
4.
5.
4 was good. 4.
4's correct, yeah. It is 4, so an extra point for Pete and Rory. Question number 4. We played at home 3 times this year.
I love how
Yeah.
you're waiting to have a look at it. It's like being back in primary school looking over you.
I'd say 3.
Yeah. We played at home 3 times this year. Is that true or false?
Yes.
That is correct, yeah. Yeah, that's all correct. Well done. We had 6 different captains this year. You all went no. How many? Or sorry, you all went no. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The right answer is actually yes.
Jeez.
We've had
Trey.
6.
Connor.
Yep.
Buddy.
Yep.
Shay.
Yep.
Who's the other one?
One retired.
Johnny.
Johnny.
He played it.
He was a cap, and then there was one more, and Ballard as well.
Oh, Daniel
Oh,
Ballard.
that's
I
right,
forgot
yeah.
that.
And Ballard, yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. I didn't think
bad.
we had as many captains, but we've had 6. We have had
Half the
6.
team with captain material. That's not too bad.
It's a good sign. Good sign if you have 6 captains. So no points that round. The last question then. We had 1 pair of brothers on the pitch playing at the same time this year.
There's 2.
It is nah, because we did have the Charles brothers play, but we also had the Evans brothers play against Spain away.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we've
That's a
had,
game we want to forget about.
we warmed them up to win the Euros. That's what that game was all about.
It's Johnny's last.
But that's
I'm
a
a
tricky
scored
question.
first. I'm a scored first.
Yeah.
I'm a scorer, yeah. We won that up.
Yeah.
That was a tricky question. The way that's worded, it sounds like did we have 1 pair of brothers playing, but it's how
Cora's been in and out, hasn't he? So it's no, that was good.
in and out. But yes, you've all done well. I'm not sure what way the scores is on because it was so mix and match there. But we'll give you all some goodie bags just to say you've all done well
Keep
there.
everyone happy.
And there's actually quite a cool wee piece in this goodie bag for you, and I'll explain it to you here now as well.
Oh,
So
no.
Stuart,
Thank you very much.
Rory,
Thank you.
well done. Rory, your tactic worked well there. Pete, well done.
Everybody, thank you.
What you'll see rolled up in that bag there, I'm not sure if you've seen these at the home games that you went to, but
Programs.
yeah, Rory done the programme for us, and each one was for each different game. We got a different player on the front of each cover as well. Just wee different things about Belfast and what makes Northern Ireland great and special, and he drew all that, and obviously that's the full stadium, so
Nice touch. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
thank you so much. But yes, that's basically us, guys, for this episode of You and I. Thank you so much for coming along. Would you recommend it to any fans that want to come on?
Get yourself signed up.
100%.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. That was some great chat there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next year.